Anatomy and physiology. Anatomy. Anatomy is the study of looking at the morphology or the structure of body parts, what goes where. So you're simply knowing how to put the body together. You don't know how it works with anatomy, you're just knowing where it goes. Physiology is how those parts work. So physiology is the function or how it works. When we're looking at anatomy and physiology and we're looking at life, there are several things that life needs in order to be considered alive. Movement, growth, digestion, responsiveness to its environment, excretion, absorption, respiration, reproduction, circulation, and assimilation. Assimilation is how well it can adapt to its everyday surroundings. There are 5 things that are essential for life. First is water, food, oxygen, heat, and pressure. We're going to be looking at homeostasis. Homeostasis is being in balance. The body likes to be in balance. We don't like to go out of normal ranges. So homeostasis is when the body maintains its normal state. In order to maintain its normal state, many reactions happen throughout the body. Metabolism is all of those reactions in the body put together. There are 2 general types of reactions that happen with metabolism. First, we have anabolism. Anabolism is building a molecule. If you think of anabolic steroids help you build muscle. Anabolism are reactions that build. Then we have catabolism. Catabolism are reactions that break down. The way that I remember this one is catabolism cut. You're cutting in half, you're kind of breaking it up. So when you are digesting, you are doing catabolism. We have levels of organization. This is how an organism is put together from the smallest level up. The smallest level we can look at is the atom. When you put a couple different atoms together, you're going to get a molecule. If we put a couple molecules together, we're going to get a macromolecule, basically a large molecule. If we put a bunch of macromolecules together, we're going to have an organelle, kind of a part of the cell. Put a bunch of organelles together, we're going to get the cell. A bunch of cells doing the same thing is going to be a tissue. A bunch of tissues doing the same thing is going to be an organ. A bunch of organs doing the same thing is going to be an organ system. And finally, a bunch of organ systems put together is going to be an organism. If we look at the body, we can divide it into 2 major parts. And oftentimes when we're looking at systems, it is divided into these 2 parts. We have axial. Axial would be the head, neck, and trunk. So this red box here. And then the rest is the appendicular. So your arms and your legs are going to be your appendages or your appendicular portion of your body. We have 2 general membranes throughout the body. We have a membrane that covers the organ itself, and then we have the membrane that covers the cavity. The membrane covering the cavity is the parietal membrane. Pleura is another name for membrane. And then we have the visceral membrane. Visceral means gut. So visceral is going to be anything that's touching the organ. So it's going to cover the organ itself. The space in between the parietal and the visceral is called the pleural space. We have several cavities and sinuses throughout the body. Looking here at the head, we have several. Above the eyeballs, you have a sinus. A sinus is a cavity within your bone. The frontal sinuses here above your eyes are in the frontal bone, and they're a cavity in the bone. The other sinuses that we're going to look at now are the sphenoidal sinus. They are right here behind the eyeballs. When we get into the skeletal system, we will learn a couple more. Cavities are basically areas within the body that are areas that house organs. You have the cranial cavity. The cranial cavity contains the brain. The middle ear cavity here contains the bones that vibrate within your ear. The orbital cavity here contains the eyeballs. The nasal cavity warms up air. And the oral cavity contains your tongue and also is the receptacle for food. Looking at this picture, we have some cavities. A couple of organs here. We have the heart. The heart is number 2. We have the lungs, which is number 6. And this portion here in the middle is called the mediastinum. The mediastinum contains the heart. We have the diaphragm. Diaphragm is number 7. The diaphragm is the muscle that is at the bottom of that cavity, separating the top from the bottom cavity. So it is separating 8 from number 1. 8 is the thoracic cavity. Then if you go down below the diaphragm, we have the abdominopelvic. And that is one word. And then that can be broken down further into 2 different cavities, the top one being number 3, the abdominal, and number 4 being the pelvic. Here's a side view of cavities. We're going to look at the kind of overall 2, number 1 and number 9. Number 1 is the ventral cavity. So the ventral cavity is here in the front, and that's basically what we went over earlier. It contains the thoracic cavity and the abdominopelvic cavity. And remember, the diaphragm separates those 2, and then the abdominopelvic is broken down into the abdominal and the pelvic separately. If we look at the back here, dorsal, you have this yellow section. You have 2 cavities here. The top is the cranial, again housing the brain, and the bottom is the vertebral. This contains your spinal cord.